Good afternoon. Good afternoon, and welcome to the wonderful world of Five Mile Pharmacy, I suppose. The Today is a beautiful day out here in the Richmond, Virginia area, and today I actually wanted to just start our first live show. So, hello for the first time, everyone here. And instead of having guests, I thought that I would talk about three specific points today that I've spent a little time researching with several of the pharmacy technicians that I've worked with, and some technicians that I walked up and just plain old asked them directly. So I hope some of this is helpful. The goal is certainly just to excuse me, help individuals looking to become certified better position themselves to be an asset to a pharmacy. Not just get a job at a pharmacy or just make it in, but to actually help out and to have it so that people want you to be there once you do start. So excuse me. Now, I did speak to two pharmacy technicians, one that I've worked before and one at a local pharmacy in the Glen Allen area. Uh, Definitely, I'll have to say I learned quite a bit from them, and at least just in talking to them again, or at least the times I've talked to the one, I'll have to say they were very helpful, and you get to see a whole new picture of what people think of pharmacy as. So it was great. So without further ado, the first thing that I believe. Now, this is something that I personally do to this day. Maybe one day I'll do an intro video so you know a little bit more about me, but I currently work in nuclear pharmacy. And the number one thing that I believe, as I've tried to do from the very first pharmacy I worked at, I kind of fell into it, I suppose, but make yourself indispensable. Volunteer for everything that people hate to do. I'll name a few. The first thing that you'll probably find working in a pharmacy is that helping patients, at pickup, ringing them up, and actually, I would say that more disliked than that would be calling insurances. So of those two things, I made sure myself to be the first to volunteer for them. If there's someone at the counter, run safely, jog, fast walk, but be there first. You're only there more than likely because of the number of prescriptions that your pharmacy is able to fill and can justify as many technicians, that would include you, to actually be there at that time. So treat them with the respect they deserve. And they do help you. So it's not as though it's one-sided. So first, make yourself indispensable, help patients, but also with insurances, let me further explain that. For those who don't know, and I've worked on the insurance side, so I know what it's like to be the bad guy and to have to give doctors bad news, and pharmacists, and technicians, and patients, and just about everyone, it seems. But when you're working in a pharmacy, more often than not, I've found in the pharmacies I've worked at, is calling the insurance is one of the most dreaded tasks. And I can't say that I started liking it, but once I realized how much people didn't like it, I started saying, "Don't worry, I'll call. No, I'll take care of it. No, it's okay. Go ahead and help the next person. I'll take this. Tell them to be about 5-10 minutes. I'm going to call them right now and see if there's something that we can do." And you do have to be honest. You have to let them know up front that, sometimes you can print off the message that the insurance gives you when you're doing online adjudication and just let them know that this is what the insurance is saying. Now, we can't lose our contract with this insurance for breaking our agreement with them, so we have to do what we've agreed to that they dictate to us. But if there's any way to get this working and to get this for you right now, we'll do it. Genuinely mean it, though. Is calling and then waiting on hold and then just hanging up doesn't really work out so well for a lot of people. So I'll have to say that remember who you're actually working for. Another call to the patient there. But you call the insurance, you get used to the language that they use, you get used to the painful no's that they have to give, whether they, empathize or not, but you leave with the solution. Okay, you can't do this, you can't improve that, can't get anything right now, can we loan them some, or can we get a claim put through for 3 tablets that last them these 3 days so that the doctor can then finish the prior authorization and they can start their treatment. And sometimes they're able to do it, sometimes they're not, but you start to recognize what things could be available, what to ask for. Even working on the insurance side, I recognize that not every person that I worked with recognized that, oh, we can do an emergency supply. Oh, we can do a one-time override because they're out of town. So there are several different things that you can do. Even learning the codes, a 7, 2, other overrides, and you really get to know what they're capable of on their side, and then you can then further figure out what you can do on yours. So to me, that's one of the most important things. I still try to do that to this day. I called manufacturer for the first time a few weeks ago. So, I just make myself useful. So if you want to work in the pharmacy, it's probably one of the best ways to get noticed. Now, once you're in there. Now, the first person I talked to that I'd never spoken to before, but they're actually at a pharmacy that I walk past quite a bit. I go into that particular, it's a retail store in a large, uh, I don't want to be specific, but it's in another entity that sells things. So I went by and I actually just asked you. I said, I'm an instructor at a local college that I teach in a certification program. So I would like to know, as a technician, where you are right now, if you had a new technician coming in, what is the number one thing that you would want them to be confident in and be able to do actively while when they're working with you? And she caught me very off guard. And she said she had a chemistry background, and she said that she actually gave an example of the math, and I'll definitely do a video on the math to be very specific because it is helpful and it's great to visualize the math you're doing, not try to do it all in your head. So she said that learning, knowing how to use and how to calculate how many drops you would actually, need to dispense when you get a prescription. If the doctor prescribes a particular eye drop that comes in a 5 milliliter bottle, which is actually kind of big, then you should know that in each milliliter there are 20 drops, and in theory, if we're going on for one shot for each one, then you would in theory have 100 drops in that bottle. And another reason this is important to recognize that is that the insurance will hold you to that. If a person is coming every week for a 5 milliliter bottle, but the way the doctor wrote it, they're only really using 20 drops a week, if they are using it every day, then the insurance is going to say that seems a little wasteful, it's a little more expensive, and we're going to try to avoid that. So that's the nicest way I could think of saying it. But with the insurance isn't working with them, it is very beneficial to you and the patient if you actually just give the exact math. 5 milliliter bottle, they say they're taking 2 drops a day. All right, so really that's a 50-day supply. If you're doing 2 drops in one eye, let's say you're doing, this is a much better situation, you're doing 2 drops in each eye. That would take it down to a 25-day supply, which makes it less than a month. So you'll probably have a lot less trouble getting the insurance to cover it also. So you do want to look at exactly what it's being written for, and you do want to actually enter into the system what it actually should last, the actual amount of time it should last. So being specific, it helps the insurance, it helps your pharmacy, it helps the patient. So try your best, but also I'll go over a video to show you exactly how to do it. But it helps people. It helps you. Instead of looking at it and, oh gosh, this 2 milliliter bottle, yeah, that'll last 90 days. Yeah, 90 days is not really all that great. So it's a very helpful thing, and it stood out quite a bit. So thank you again. I am going to stop by and let you know I told everyone about your wonderful example, and hello. So that was number 2. Now, this is probably my favorite, even though I like my my thing to make yourself stand out. The third person, she summed up 5, 6, 20 things all in one. Don't suck. So number 3 is to elaborate. Don't be the technician that when everyone looks at the schedule that they dread the day that they're working with you. Now, there could be several reasons that are unreasonable, but if you're there, if you are focused, if you are simply there to do your job and to help people, help patients, that's going to be a great way to start. Now, there are I have worked in pharmacies where new people are almost demonized, and you can't really make away easily, but it's doable. And if you put your job first and not the in pharmacy politics or social atmosphere, you can do a great job. So if you focus on just wanting to be there and wanting to do your job and not always laying in the back and not trying to avoid going up to the counter to help the next patient or trying to avoid doing data entry or you're avoiding counting pills, it really makes a name for yourself, and in both ways. So if you're having difficulty learning something, say it, own it, learn it, try your best. If you'd be amazed how often other technicians and pharmacists will forgive you as long as you are showing an obvious effort and whatever you can do to do your best. As long as you're showing that, I think that the time it'll take for you to fully learn your role and to really feel out each pharmacist, because you have to remember, and maybe I'll do a whole video on this, but every single pharmacist that you work with will be a little bit different. A little bit different. You know, some may want you to put the auxiliary labels on the bottle. Some will say, "No, don't worry about it. I'll take care of it." And some will only count the, they'll want to count all of the controls. Some will say, "Hey, here, get this out of the safe for me." And it really depends on their workflow. And flow is incredibly important in the pharmacy. The synergistic way of working things out will benefit everyone in the pharmacy, make a less stressful day. You may be incredibly busy. You may be short-staffed. You may have had someone call out. But as long as you're actually working towards that goal and working together, it's going to be a great experience. And I have to give a great shout out to Miss Briscoe for really being a leader when I worked there and teaching how even if you're short two people, you can get stuff done. And you can still help people, and being honest up front and letting them know, we only have two people here. So he's going to be here helping patients, and I'm going to be over there ringing them up. So sometime in the middle, we're going to have to both jump back and count these pills so that we can actually get you ready. Sometimes explaining the situation, owning the problems that you're having is the best way to handle it. And just do your best. Stay calm, take care of things. So I think that covers it for the day, and thank you for checking into the first one, and I hope we have more to talk about. I'm at pharmacy, so have a great day. Thanks.